Good morning. Welcome to the Meltdown. I hope y'all are having a great day. Enjoy the weather while it's still a little on the warm side because apparently it's going to get really cold. Half the country is going to get cold. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my events of yesterday, and I want to thank those of you that have been praying for myself, my son, Jason, the situations that I find myself in. Won't go into a great deal of detail, but things are finally progressing on all fronts. The really great news is that I will get to spend time with my son Jason. I will get to start seeing him, and I'm really excited about the weekend. Thank you all for your thoughts and prayers. And again, we're here to help. If you've got any questions about what you're reading, what you're seeking, the information you're getting online, and you want to share it and communicate with me, please feel free to call the store. That would be at 281-548-2646. It's 281-548-2646. Hit option 0. You'll get a live voice. If you're outside of the Houston market, that's 877-705-2646. Again, option 0. We stream live during our podcast. That's at themeltdown.com. Michael puts them up. We've got an archive situation that's well over 500 shows and approaching 400 hours of audio. So we take out the commercial message. We provide you the information. We want to be able to be your dealer of choice, whether you're buying, selling, or trading. Please look us up. Now, I want to get into a little bit of fact about what's going on around the world and how that's having an impact in the market. Understand that there are a number of organizations that provide tracking status for different markets. Some of them are going to be delayed 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Others are going to be a little bit faster. Everyone's got their own speed and their own information to share. But what I want to focus in on and what I want to really convey is that if you don't have a plan, if you're not following a course, if you're not implementing something that makes sense, then you're really missing the boat. And it's important to understand that a true economist, somebody who's been involved in many markets, providing you information, does it from a standpoint and a tact of understanding that there are multiple impacts in multiple markets that affect different economies. And so I've talked about the crest cycle and I've discussed the dollar over time. I can tell you that silver has gone from below right at the $19 level in this recent week of trading back to where the ask price is $19.50. And what that means is if you're trying to buy common silver American Eagles and you want to buy them in a monster box of 500 or more, you're going to be around $24.50 per coin. That is a $5 premium at 1945 silver. That's the ask side. And that's if you're trading in the futures market. And you've got to understand the physical commodity trades at a premium. If you're looking at gold, which is up between $4 and $7 at the moment, I've seen it down on the opening of trading. I've seen it up. And so you can buy 1 ounce gold American Eagles, Maple Leafs, Krugerrands for around $1,300 to $1,310 per coin. A lot of people want to acquire a 1 ounce gold bar. And you can save 2.5 percentage points going into the market. You lose your privacy. You lose disclosability upon the liquidation of that coin. And dealing in Humble is different than dealing in Houston. And while all of the product is recognizable product, you've got to understand that because you're buying a 1 ounce bar doesn't mean it's a better deal. Matter of fact, I saw this morning on one of the shows that I watch early that buying the cheapest item when you look at a smart TV may not be the best deal because you saved the money coming in. And that's really very important in my market. So when people say, Brett, I want to get involved in the rare coin business, or I want to own precious metals, everybody looks at certain areas of the market. Now, I want to reflect on quantitative easing for a moment. This is a topic that so many people have so many different feelings and opinions about. But the biggest move of the day was that Australia has gone to an unlimited debt ceiling. It's the same as the Japanese. So what that means is that they're going to produce enough currency and they don't care about how much debt they incur. Well, of course, if you were watching the news last night, you know that Detroit filed its $18 billion bankruptcy, the largest Chapter 9 in history, and the pension plan is going to be rated to the tune of somewhere between 60 and 80 percentage points. So if you've been retired and you retired based on your pension plan and you were an employee of the city of Detroit, your life is about to change again. Pensions are not protected. In the state of Illinois, they're looking at rating the pension plans. And so the unfunded liability around the world is starting to come home to roost. That's part of the problem with our current debt crisis. That's the problem with both sides of the aisle, the Republicans and the Democrats, and then you've got the Tea Party, and everyone refusing to compromise. Folks, rare coins are a safety hedge. I know that you've been listening, and I know you understand that the art market is commanding huge premiums. Art Week a couple of weeks ago up in New York was huge. And when I look at jewelry or cars or real estate, I understand that these are all bubble markets. Now, I just was talking to a customer out in the store, and one of the things that came up that we were discussing was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pretty much an online currency. And when it was really, 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 really cheap, it was a really, really, really good deal. Today, not so much. It's appreciated huge. And it is a bubble, just like the dot-com bubble was back in the late 90s, the first part of 2000. And so if you're invested in areas of markets that don't feel comfortable to you, then you make choices. Everybody makes choices. Unfortunately, some of the choices that we make may not be the most prudent. And then you've got conflict outside of the immediate arena that throws everything upside down. And so I'm talking about real estate. I'm talking about the art market. I'm talking about the economy. Talking about home sales up 25%, quote, against a seasonally adjusted number. That's the government's way of manipulating the market to sound better than it really is. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about UBS getting an immunity deal from the EU. But with regards to LIBOR, $2.3 billion were 2.3 billion euros were fined into the EU, into the banking system. And Deutsche Bank, trust me, the Germans want their gold for a reason. The Chinese are converting dollar-denominated investment into gold. And they're buying it out of Hong Kong by the ton. They are concerned. They are worried. It's the same thing you should be doing. And when I talk about diversification, I talk about owning rarity. Now, I've had a lot of clients talk to me about this, and it's understanding that the elite, the haves, that top 1% that controls 20% of the wealth in this country wants the finest known material. A lot of dealers make markets and do bulk business in the bullion markets. They'll tell you about silver American Eagles, or they'll tell you about a better date coin in Mint State 70 or Mint State or Proof 69. Always referring to the highest grade material, but new material. Well, new material keeps you in the limelight of being a collector. There are rumors all over the internet about the fact that the current administration, the Obama administration, is talking about confiscating gold and IRA transactions the first of this next calendar year. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. And while I do have a new crystal ball from my good friend Doug, ultimately it is not really good at prognosticating the direction of these markets. And so when I look at the fact that the metals are up or down on any given day, and the premiums are widening, with exception to oil, and oil is a really tricky commodity. I remember just a couple of weeks ago, we were paying in the 270s. Now, the two gas stations here in Humble that I always poke fun at are at 313 and 315 respectively. Is it the cheapest gas? No. Is it a little cheaper to drive an extra mile or so away? Yes. But ultimately, it's the manipulation of the market. And I can tell you unequivocally that the premium, which was over 20% Brent C to West Texas Intermediate, is now narrowed to under 10%. And again, these are futures transactions. But OPEC is meeting. The Iranians are talking about coming online. And as they upscale their production, we're talking about a glut of oil hitting the market between the U.S. shale market, the Iranians, the Libyans, of almost 4 to 5 million barrels a day. And folks, if this country chose to shut down, if we all took a holiday from driving, the tankers would overflow because the refineries wouldn't know what to do with all the oil. Remember, you've got countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, that are producing 10 million barrels a day. And yes, having a green vehicle, being able to bring down your footprint, not having so much involvement as a positive. But you've got to understand that currencies are being blown up. Economies are at the breaking point. That's why they're lifting the ceiling on their debt. And so, unlike the Weimar Republic, you need to own something physical and tangible. And while there is a movement to discuss a one world currency or a cashless society, the underground, the barter communication, that will thrive. And so I talked about the crest cycle. We get to a peak in the stock markets, and as we get to those peaks, there will be corrections. Some stocks will correct 40 percentage points. Others may go 60%. And the gold and silver market, while it shows near-term weakness, the availability of physical product will become very challenging. Most of you don't want to pay too exorbitant a premium, and I understand that you just started to look at precious metals or rare coins, but you need to deal with somebody who's seen different market cycles, who's seen cycles within this industry, let alone the other industries. People are managing money around the world with financial planners and money managers, and I'm dealing with some of those people. But they all are diversifying themselves into gold, silver, and rare coins, and understanding what the value of a rare coin is or isn't worth really does matter. Now, I want to deal head on with an issue that I created myself about a year or so ago, and that was I have control of the finest known Government of Texas note that was signed by a secretary for Sam Houston. Now, Sam was injured during the war. Subsequently, he had secretaries sign it. But it is clearly the finest known note that has ever been graded by PMG. The note, because I wanted to play with the guys on Pawn Stars, Rick and his family, I put a really exorbitant number on it. And that number wasn't accurate. The real value of that note, probably between 150 and 250,000. We've used the numbers and we've asked for too much, but the reality of it is that it's time to focus in on value. So because it's the finest known, I can tell you a note that is one of thousands has sold for about $10,000. This is the single finest known note known to exist. To the best of my knowledge, the only uncirculated note, and certainly the highest of all the uncirculated notes. I know that the note is comfortably 125 to 150,000. I believe it's probably worth about 200, but you know what? If somebody made me the right offer for Christmas, they could own the single finest known Government of Texas note, period. The fact that somebody lowballs the value does not mean that it's an accurate representation of what's being said out there. I showed a coin that was made by the Mongolian Mint in 2003. It's a 3-kilo silver coin. Now, anything similar, the only thing I could find online, put the value of a comparable specimen at about $8,000. A silver value is worth approximately $1,500. So when you calculate value, when you do the research to come up with a fair representation, not everybody's going to be fair. It's only worth what somebody will pay you for it. But ultimately, assessing value for finest known material normally happens in an auction setting. Establishing what you want, that's one thing. Getting it may be the other. And so what I want to tell you is you use the best amount of research that you possibly can. If you look and see a value of something that's $10,000 and the item you're talking about is 100 times rarer, you're over $1 million. And that would make 600,000 almost seem like it was in the ballpark if you're only at 60%. Go cut that by 30% or 40%. It's not a far-fetched number. It's reasonable. But to have some person who is not a coin expert, not a currency expert, assess the value at $6,000 makes them really foolish. And frankly, I didn't have a problem telling them that. And so what I really want to tell you is that if you've got things of value, collectibles, historical items, whatever it might be, give us a call. I'll do the research. We'll provide you an opinion. You can certainly go out. We assist clients all the time with other information so that they get a clear, concise, and logical idea of what's going on. It's a great thing to have cameras. It's a great thing to have proof. And the bottom line to everything that happens in society is to be able to have multiple opinions and multiple options so that you get taken care of properly. So, folks, I don't ever want to get off air without thanking Texas Children's Hospital. So I'm going to wrap this morning segment up in spite of the fact that I'm pushing 11:30. Texas Children's is very special to me and my son Jason. Jason has special needs. He's got very mild Downs. And if you go to the Meltdown.com and you click on the Downs Clinic, give them your name, address, city, state, zip, phone number, and a donation amount. Could be a tithe or an offering as well. It's the holiday season. The funds will go through Texas Children's to the Downs Clinic and Dr. Ostermeyer and the Meyer Center. Now, the facility had to move out of the West Tower at Texas Children's off the Fannin campus because they help so many other special needs, whether it's autism or any other special need. I love Dr. Ostermeyer and her staff, and I appreciate what they do for our children all the time. Now, the other facility that I love is the Ronald McDonald House inside the hospital on the 4th floor. 20 rooms dedicated to probably 40 to 60, 80 people a night. They're providing a service for the family members that are going to visit their children throughout the night. If you can provide a hot meal, a tithe or an offering, please call 832-824-8600. That's 832-824-8600. Nancy Allen and her staff would be more than happy to help accommodate the ability to provide for hot meals or a tithe or an offering, even gifts. It's the holiday season, folks. At Texas Children's, they expect the admission of 500 children between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And if you can go by and provide toys for little boys or little girls, leave them unwrapped. They'll separate them out accordingly. But the need is for 500 items. I can tell you on Black Friday here in Humble, I was able to go into a discount center and buy enough material. I probably covered 5% of the need myself. It's the blessing of the season. And folks, I love Texas Children's Hospital. I love all facilities in the Med Center and around the world. The children need our love and our support. Now, I'll be back sometime after 2:30 this afternoon. I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, email me anytime. That's Brett, BRETT, at thegoldexchange.net. If you go to the links page, there's Eagle Numismatics, and we'll look for anything of value. We can help build portfolios, whether they're $1,000 or $100 million. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you later this afternoon. God bless you. Stay cool out there. Have a great day.